One of the things you see the media and Democrats doing to get away from the fact that they lied about Russia collusion for 2 years is they're trying to shift the narrative. So a big part of that's obstruction. But one of the issues you hear them talking about is they're trying to defend the Mueller investigation and the impetus of it. And they're saying, see, Mueller showed that actually the Russians did try to sow discord and they did do nefarious things. And that proves that his investigation was worthwhile. It's not just Democrats, by the way, that are saying this. You're Republicans saying this. Yes, the Russians attacked us. Yes, they did a bunch of bad stuff. And we're glad that Mueller got to the bottom of it. Ask yourself, though, what was the biggest influential factor that Russians had in the U.S. political system? Now, there's only two possible answers. People want to talk about Russian Facebook trolls and things like that. It's a joke. In an election where over $1 trillion were spent, $50,000 or even $500,000 spent by Russian Facebook trolls in that group is nothing. It's a pittance. You might not like it. You might think they deserve to be charged. Whatever. It didn't have a significant effect. There were only two issues I think could have an effect. And the one would be if the Russians did in fact hack and release those emails to WikiLeaks. That did have probably a big effect. I don't think it changed the outcome of the election or anything like that. But certainly that's a more sophisticated, impactful way that they influenced and sowed discord in our country. I'll give you that. But I would argue even more important to that, and even if you don't think it's more important, it's at least on par or close to that level, is the fact that Kremlin agents gave Hillary Clinton's paid law firm's agent, Christopher Steele, dirt on Donald Trump. That dirt then was used to do several things. First, it was used by Hillary Clinton's campaign, who believed it, or at least spread it, to both before and certainly after the election, smear Donald Trump and the allegations within it, such as the peace stuff, the Cohen meeting in Prague to steal the election, Carter Page being an asset. So it was used to control the discord. To this day, there are people that believe the claims in the Steele dossier. There are people that believe it was kind of the start of the Trump is a Russian stooge, Trump is a Russian agent. This was the impetus for all that. And so it allowed them to have a PR board that was very effective and certainly sowed discord in the country. And the second and possibly more important thing is it was the impetus for a lot of investigations that led to spying on people connected to Trump's campaign, such as Carter Page. We now know that that information that those Kremlin agents gave was lies. It was unverified. And yet it's caused massive division in this country to the point where a large percentage of people just check out Twitter. Check out like the blue check marks on Twitter today that still say, it's a lie. We know the Russia collusion thing. We know it. That's all we've talked about. That's all the media's talked about for 2 years. Russia collusion, Russia collusion. And a big part of that was claims directly from Kremlin agents that they fed to the DNC and to Hillary Clinton's campaign. So, if you're Robert Mueller and you're really interested in finding out exactly what the Russians did to sow discord in the United States and preventing the future use of that, wouldn't one of the first things you do to look into exactly who these Kremlin agents were, to look into Christopher Steele, to look into the Democrats and Fusion GPS that paid Christopher Steele, and then weaponize this intel that were lies? Wouldn't that be the first thing you do? That's where the discord came from. Yet not one word of that is breathed in the Mueller report. In fact, there are all sorts of people. He wants to look at Trump's team. Any per time someone in Trump's team talked to a significant Russian, it's mentioned in the report. Yet we know some of those very same Russian oligarchs like Deripaska, Klimek, and others actually had connections to Hillary's team as well. But it's only mentioned when Trump's team talked to them. And remember, my claim is that this was a witch hunt from the get-go, that this was all about bringing Trump down by any means necessary. But the counter to that claim that we're seeing is, no, this was a serious investigation as well into stopping Russian influence. Well, doesn't the fact that he only looked at it when it was connected to Trump and ignored possibly the biggest piece of influence, the Kremlin agent's dirt given to Steele for the Steele dossier, doesn't that further buttress the claim, geez, maybe this wasn't just about solving Russian influence? It seems the only time that Mueller's concerned with crimes is when it's people connected to Trump, or when Mueller's concerned about with people meeting Russians, it's people connected to Trump. He doesn't seem to be concerned about any Russian influence or any crimes that have to come through the Democratic Party or through people not connected to Trump. Why is that? If it's really just about solving Russian influence, why wouldn't that be the case? Why wouldn't one of the very first things he did been like, wow, we now realize that this Steele dossier was unverified garbage. It had such a huge effect on our investigative agencies, on our media, and the populace of our country that to this day are still arguing and screaming and think that our president's a traitor and a Russian agent because of the claims in here. What a huge way for the Russians to influence. Not a word breathed on it. The biggest discord that they sowed, the Russians sowed, and not a single word breathed on it. This is further proof that this Mueller investigation was never about keeping our country safe from Russian influence. It was never about justice and being fair. It was only about What can we do to get people connected to Trump? We're only concerned about potential crimes with people connected to Trump. And so it's outrageous. It's more evidence that this was bias and a witch hunt from the get-go. And if you check out my last video, you can see how these claims in the dossier were used by the FBI and the Obama administration to illegally spy on people connected to Trump's campaign. And then that information was then disseminated through illegal leaks and things like that, and was used to make Trump look bad both before and after he was elected. So yeah, again, I don't buy these claims. Oh, Mueller, it was a worthwhile, it wasn't a witch hunt because Mueller found, he found some evidence of Russian wrongdoing. He found some evidence of them sowing discord. Yeah, but only on one side. And that's been my claim from the FBI investigation to the Mueller investigation to the media to everyone. That's fine. You can do what you want. I just don't want a double standard. If you think FARA violations should be prosecuted now, fine, prosecute Paul Manafort. I have no problem with that. But when he worked in tangent with Hillary Clinton's campaign manager's firm, the Podesta Group, committing the exact same crime with the exact same people, and the Podesta Group, the people involved with it, are allowed to walk away, just retroactively file paperwork, no big deal. When we see that, Mueller's charging people with lying to the FBI that are connected to Trump, but he knows that people lied to the FBI that were connected to Hillary, or he charged people like Cohen for lying to Congress, but we know that people like Comey lied to Congress and he doesn't charge them. Every single instant, there's a double standard. Every single time. And now we're supposed to say, yeah, but, good for him for trying to get to the bottom of Russian interference. Oh, except he didn't get to the bottom of the very biggest piece of interference they had. He didn't even breathe a word about it. No, I'm sorry. I don't believe that this was on the up and up and that he was just trying to protect us from Russians. So, hey, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'm probably going to have some more videos coming out today and tomorrow about the Mueller report as I continue to go through it and read it and things pop in my head. So please recommend me to some other people if you don't mind, and have a good one.